It's just what's bothering me is that being a celebrity sometimes comes with, like, everybody wants to be successful in a celebrity and stuff like that, but it comes with, bullshit sometimes. And, you know, that's the only thing that I hate about it.
They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy.
Say what now? Not Terrence Howard linking up with Taraji P. Henson and Katt Williams calling things out about Will Smith and Diddy over what allegedly happened with Bryshere Gray? This situation sounds wild, and people online keep talking like there's way more behind the scenes than anyone expected. If you haven't come across Bryshere Gray's videos on Twitter, consider yourself lucky because running into them can really catch you off guard. He went from being one of the most talked about rising actors in Hollywood to taking a completely different path that shocked a lot of people. And many are saying this shift didn't just happen out of nowhere. There have been rumors floating around claiming everything was set up from early on, back when he was introduced to major figures in the industry for guidance while still young. Some stories even suggest his own mother, Andrea, may have been aware of certain decisions being made, which adds another layer to the whole situation. People online speculate this might explain why Taraji and Terrence felt limited in what they could do, especially if family involvement was part of the equation. Okay, for those who are somehow out of the loop about what people are saying happened with Bryshere Gray, it all traces back to that questionable mentorship his mother and then manager, Charlie Mack, reportedly arranged with major industry names. At the time, Bryshere was just starting to rise fast in Hollywood because of his role as Hakeem on Empire, working alongside Taraji P. Henson and Terrence Howard, so this opportunity seemed like a huge deal for his career. But according to rumors spreading online, that mentorship may not have been what it appeared to be. Some claims suggest it wasn't really about guidance at all, but something much more complicated and troubling behind the scenes. These are serious allegations, and none of it has been clearly confirmed, but the speculation has definitely caught people's attention and raised a lot of questions. What's even more shocking is that similar accusations have been talked about involving other artists in the industry, with names like Usher, Justin Bieber, and YK Osiris being mentioned in online discussions. Because of that, some people argue that the adults around Bryshere should have been more cautious about who he was connected with. Still, these are claims circulating online, and there's no verified proof backing them up, so they should be viewed carefully while the conversation continues. The warning signs were not hidden at all. People say they were right there in plain sight, and still nothing changed. Now here's where things get even more intense. According to Jaguar Wright, Will Smith allegedly crossed serious lines, and she even claimed it involved his own son, Jaden. That's a heavy accusation, and she suggested this is why Jaden reportedly distanced himself from home at a young age, wanting space from everything going on. While all of this was supposedly unfolding, Bryshere was still working on Empire, and his co-stars, Terrence Howard and Taraji P. Henson, were right there watching him change over time. People say they could see the pressure and stress building on him in real time, which made the situation even harder to ignore. But like mentioned before, there wasn't much they could actually do beyond giving advice and trying to support him. Normally, concerns like this would be taken to family, but if the family situation is complicated, that makes everything harder to handle. Without clear proof, going to authorities also becomes difficult, especially when things are based on suspicion rather than confirmed facts. After Bryshere stepped away from the spotlight, there were still attempts to reach him and check in on him. Reports claim it wasn't easy to get in contact with him at all. In one interview, Jussie Smollett shared with Kandi Burruss that people had been trying to find him since the show ended, hoping to offer support and help him get back on track.
Oh, do y'all communicate?
I've texted with him recently.
Okay, what'd you say?
Yeah, I was just looking, I've been looking for him.
Oh, you have been?
Yeah.
Oh, and remember that moment when Taraji P. Henson spoke out strongly against industry executives back in 2024? Well, some people believe her frustration was also shaped by things she allegedly witnessed happening around Bryshere Gray during that time. But it doesn't stop there. Terrence Howard once shared in an interview that during that same period, he had an uncomfortable encounter where someone tried to cross a line with him and he shut it down immediately. He made it clear he wasn't going for any of that, setting firm boundaries on the spot. In that same conversation, Terrence also spoke in a more general way about how some individuals in the industry lose control over their own paths due to powerful influences around them. He didn't directly name Bryshere, but a lot of people listening felt the message pointed towards situations like his, especially since during that same time frame, Terrence had made similar comments hinting that some mentors in the industry may take advantage of those trying to succeed. He said things like this. He said, and I quote, "Everything is androgynous. The more successful men now are the effeminate. The man has been demonized with the new formula. Most men are made to be effeminate and not have their power or sense of strength. They allow white men to be able to be strong, but when it's black men, it's seen as a threat." Those words had people talking, trying to figure out exactly what he meant and who he was referring to in the industry. And just when it seemed like the situation couldn't get more intense, another voice entered the conversation. Will Smith's former close associate, brother Bilal, came forward with his own claims, backing up what Taraji and Terrence had been hinting at. According to him, during the time he worked closely with Will, Bryshere was around them during a trip to Chicago, and something unsettling allegedly happened behind the scenes. Bilal claimed Bryshere later became emotional after being under the influence of substances and opened up about what he said he experienced involving powerful figures. He also said Bryshere initially believed he was part of the situation, even though he denies any involvement. These are serious claims, and they remain unverified, but they've definitely added more attention to an already controversial story. And when it comes to Katt Williams, he didn't directly mention Bryshere Gray either, but he did open up about facing uncomfortable advances from powerful figures in the industry, describing situations that people feel sound very similar to what Bryshere has been rumored to experience. If you remember, he sat down for that viral interview with Shannon Sharpe back in 2024, and he did not hold back at all. He explained that when he was just starting out, Harvey Weinstein allegedly tried to pressure him into doing something inappropriate in exchange for a movie opportunity. Katt said he shut it down immediately and made it clear that kind of move would never work on him. That moment alone had people looking at the industry in a completely different light. Now, people have always speculated about Bryshere's situation, but after comments from Taraji, Terrence, and Katt, the conversation has definitely grown louder and more intense. Still, none of these claims have been confirmed by Bryshere himself, so it all remains speculation for now. At the same time, he has been active online, which keeps people talking and trying to piece together what might really be going on behind the scenes. And people definitely have a lot to say about all of this. One person put it like this, saying, yes, he needed guidance. The straight men in Hollywood should be mentoring the younger actors and giving them guidance as to who to avoid. That comment alone sparked a whole wave of reactions, with many agreeing that newcomers need real support, not just opportunities that come with pressure. They continued by saying the industry should be teaching young actors not to chase fame so hard that they end up compromising their values or losing themselves along the way. The focus, according to them, should be on protecting personal integrity while navigating such a high-pressure environment. They also warned about being cautious around people who mix mentorship with partying, substances, and risky situations. Instead, they suggested sticking with mentors who actually take time to explain the business, help sharpen acting skills, and encourage staying grounded. Advice like that has been echoing across conversations as more people weigh in on the situation. And now, the big question everyone keeps asking is simple. Why hasn't Bryshere Gray spoken up for himself yet? That silence has people split, because some believe it means there's something deeper going on, while others think he's just choosing to stay out of the chaos and protect his peace. At the same time, others are saying the pressure of the industry can really mess with someone's head, especially when fame comes fast and expectations hit even faster. Not everyone handles that kind of spotlight the same way, and sometimes people step back in ways that the public doesn't fully understand. Still, the internet isn't slowing down. Every new interview, every old clip, and every rumor keeps getting picked apart like there's some hidden truth waiting to be uncovered. Until Bryshere himself decides to speak clearly on everything, people are going to keep guessing, debating, and building their own versions of what really happened behind closed doors. And even with all this talk going around, one thing is clear. The industry itself is now under a bigger spotlight than ever before. People are no longer just focusing on the celebrities, they're starting to question the systems, the power moves, and the way newcomers are brought into the game. More voices are speaking up, sharing their own experiences, or at least hinting that not everything behind the scenes is as clean as it looks on camera. That's what's really got people paying attention, because when multiple stories start to sound similar, it makes everyone stop and think twice about what's really happening. At the end of the day, this whole situation has turned into a much bigger conversation about fame, influence, and protection. Who can you trust when you're trying to make it? And how far is too far when chasing success? Those are the questions people keep asking, and right now, nobody seems to have a clear answer. I still get upset when I think about how people online say Justin Bieber and Bryshere Gray were affected by the darker side of the industry, and it makes you wonder how many others may have faced their own struggles behind the scenes. One person even said, his mind has been controlled by the bosses for so long that they issued just enough in his system to fully ruin his mind and had an effect on his whole way of thinking. That kind of statement has people seriously debating how much pressure and influence exists in these spaces. Others are pointing to the intense lifestyle, saying not everyone can handle what comes with fame, from constant stress to unhealthy environments. It raises bigger questions about support, boundaries, and what really goes on when the cameras are off. But now I want to hear from you. What do you think about Terrence, Taraji, and Katt speaking out and sharing their perspectives? And do you believe Bryshere Gray will ever come forward and tell his side of the story? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and share this with someone who needs to see it. And don't forget to check out the next video on your screen for more drama and breakdowns.